Welcome to the No Regard podcast. My name's Nathan Bleakley.
I'm Marcelo Lucha.
Back to the podcast format, Marcelo. After a massive week of filming last week.
It was too much.
It was too much.
I was pretty tired, I'm not going to lie.
You cooked, are you? It's a bit too much.
But yeah, I think it's good that we're back.
Good back to the traditional format there.
Yeah.
I'll talk about a sport this week from a bunch of our favourite sports as well. So we're back in the groove. We're back at it.
Yeah.
Let's hop over to England. We're over at the English Premier League. So a few big results from last night, seeing as we're recording on Sunday morning. The Friday night matches in England got pretty heavy. So we're looking at some of the maybe expected results. Arsenal got up 2-0 against Stoke City. Anything to report on that?
I mean, Arsenal still look pretty shitty, to be honest.
It wouldn't be no regard if we didn't throw chat at Arsenal.
No, but again and again, we have to say it. They're not an elite team.
They're not.
When I say elite, I'm talking Juventus, Real Madrid, City, Barcelona.
Yeah, Titans of Europe.
Exactly, they're not on that level, and yeah, sure, okay. They picked up a win against Stoke City. Whoop de fucking do, mate. Honestly, for me, that's not even reportable news, bro.
Yeah, fair
because
enough. Well, they've got what 4 wins on the trot now, or something like that.
Something like that. Might be 3.
They lost that first game to West Ham, but they've been getting pretty expectable results these last few weeks. They've picked up a few clean sheets. Now checking the defense seem like they're synced up. So
yeah,
this clean sheet form, 3 straight clean sheets from Arsenal. I kind of like the defensive look at the moment. That's probably the criticism that you could have made last season, that they weren't really defensively as solid as they should be. Even without the full health of Payweather or can you mention the centre back's name?
Koscielny.
Koscielny, yeah.
It's not that hard.
It's not hard, but I didn't want to completely mess it up in the middle of the pod. But basically, it is looking a lot more solid in that department. They still need a great defensive midfielder, in my opinion, even more than they need a striker. In my opinion, that you need a guy that's going to be the linchpin of the midfield more importantly than you need a good scorer. When you have guys like Ramsey, you have guys like Özil, Santi Cazorla, you have guys that can score goals, but not in bulk necessary format, but they can get a combination of goal scoring talent from probably the best creative midfield in the Premier League.
I disagree, but go on.
But now that they've sorted out the defense, it looks good, but they still need a good defensive midfielder in the mold of a Daniel De Rossi or something like that to hold down the midfield, which I still think they've been missing. You can't play guys like Arteta and Flamini in a title-winning midfield.
Yeah, I think City right now is the best midfield.
I agree with that. I just mean the pure base of creative talent when you have that many attacking midfielders. You have guys like Ramsey, you have guys like Özil, Cazorla, Walcott, obviously Sanchez as well.
Yeah.
You have the amount of creative talent there. It's just a matter of pulling it all together and having that sort of one defensive guy in your midfield as well.
See, all those guys that you mentioned, Sanchez and Walcott, they mostly play up front, right?
Yeah.
In the middle, the only players I do rate are Ozil and Ramsey. Everyone else I feel is overrated, especially by Arsenal.
Your Wilshere hatred is quite well documented.
Wilshere's just your classic English wonder kid. Oh my god, he's gonna be the next big thing. We're gonna win a World Cup with this guy.
Shots at Hurricane.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. The only player I do believe in is Ross Barkley. I've said it before and I say it a million more times.
I'll get on that bandwagon. While we're on the subject of Everton, sadly for me, Everton got up 3-1 over Chelsea last night.
Yeah.
We're in crisis right now as a Chelsea fan.
To
be honest, I'd probably say 4 points from 5 matches. I don't have the stats in front of me, but that's probably obviously one of the worst tunnel defences openings that I've ever seen. And probably one of the worst of all time.
Yeah.
This is relegation numbers. Not saying in any sort of way, shape or form that Chelsea will get relegated. We'll turn it around to the point where we'll still be a top 6 side. But, geez, dropping 11 points in the first 5 matches is bad.
Look, I'd throw shade at you, but I can't even
it's hurtful.
I can't make jokes right now because it's actually really surprising, especially from a Mourinho side.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know what the hell the problem is, to be completely honest with you. Watching them play, they're not clinical. I think Diego Costa needs to do more. I think Fabregas is done absolutely nothing so far.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone expects so much from them because they did have such a hot start last season. Like there was something like a goal a game from Costa, and assist a game from Fabregas in those first opening 10 games where we scorched it.
No, but even though that first 11 playing at an average level, at average form, is better than 90% of the Premier League.
Oh, yeah.
If Fabregas is playing average, Costa's playing average, Hazard even playing average, which he is doing, if that.
Average is definitely the word I'd use for Hazard's
I'm
play,
being a bit fucking generous calling him average right now. That's still a great side, but they don't look average. They're not putting up average points.
Well, I call it tiredness because, obviously a lot of teams have to do this, but Chelsea had a pretty rough schedule on their off-season touring. They didn't get a summer. And obviously, look, there's some problems going on with Mourinho at the moment, and how he sticks up with the team, how he's dealing with issues in the media,
his staff as well.
Yeah, obviously that we're talking about Eva in terms of how he handled that physio situation. Look, I still trust Mourinho. I still think he's one of the best managerial talents of our time. But geez, you can see why he doesn't spend long at a football club. He does create a toxic culture.
Yeah.
And look, I got to admit, last season, it did finally look like Mourinho was settled.
You thought he was staying for a while.
I thought he was staying for the next 10 years.
Now we're
in the situation that happens every time where there are problems with management, problems with Mourinho. Look, I don't think he's on any sort of pressure. I don't think he's at risk of being fired by Abramovich. Just because, is basically Mourinho's his love child.
Yeah.
But Chelsea has a notorious sort of streak of firing managers, so you never know what might happen if this continues for a few more matches.
I can't see him getting fired though. Not unless Chelsea loses 15 games in a row or something absolutely ridiculous, which I doubt.
I still feel like Chelsea will. I would back Chelsea to turn it around next week, just because they have a fairly easy-ish run. And you'd have to back him in to sort it out at some point. There's just too much talent in that team to not finish in a top 8, top 6 place.
Exactly. I think even if you took Mourinho out of it, they had no coach. I think the players themselves would somehow sorted out.
I think there isn't I think more so than any other year, there isn't really sort of that leadership in the locker room from guys like Lampard, Drogba.
Terry's got to step up.
Look, he needs to make a captain's call. But it just feels like there's less leadership in the dressing room than there has ever been in for the last 5-10 years in Chelsea. You had special guys in Lampard, Drogba, obviously Terry guys in the past, as well as Ivanovic isn't playing around right now. Czech would have been a leader. You're missing a lot of leadership presences in the room right now. You got Terry, and then you got a bunch of young guys, a bunch of foreign guys that haven't been at the team very long. Beyond Terry, Hazard is the most recent guy to come to the team in the starting 11. It's a fairly newish team that hasn't played together for very long. So there's a lot of young guys there. So we just can't. I think it's more leadership than anything. There needs to be leadership from within the side and from Mourinho. We need to see more leadership from Jose Mourinho. But speaking of managers that are kind of on the hot seat right now.
Brendan Rodgers. He's out, man.
He's out?
He's done. Obviously lost 1-3 to United.
Yep.
A United that's struggling. A United that, in a lot of people's eyes, is really, really on the downward spiral. In my opinion, I think Louis van Gaal was pretty much destroying that club.
From the perspective of United, this is a big win.
Oh yeah. No, but I'm saying in retrospect, this is a shitty team beating a shitty team.
But the thing is, it's not even there's always going to be the talent at these sort of sides. There's just too much money around the clubs. But I just feel dressing room culture wise, and I'm using the word dressing room a lot in this pod, but I just feel like Louis van Gaal is killing the culture of the play. There's no united sense of goal that there was when you saw it under Sir Alex Ferguson. There's no real set sort of stuff.
But even under Moyes, David Moyes was shit.
Look,
but he started to turn it around, and things started to look positive before they fired him, right? We praised United for their off-season. Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, Marcos Rojo as well. Just
Anthony
great.
Marshall.
Well, he scored last night.
He did prove me wrong.
So we can't throw shade on him. But United aren't a great team, and the fact that they just beat Liverpool 3-1, for me, Brendan Rodgers is a good manager in my eyes.
Yeah.
I like him.
It feels like a bit of a Moyes situation where he is great at managing those slightly smaller clubs. But
No, but I think you could put Rodgers in like, you could take him to like Inter Milan and he'll make Champions League easy. But something's just wrong at Liverpool. The whole Sterling situation, I think, just sucked the life out of that club. And losing 3-1 to United, man, that's just crazy for me. I didn't think it'd be like that. I think they draw, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now I think the only way to fix this, as much as I like Brendan Rodgers, is you got to fire him, or he's got to resign.
But like you look back and like it's not that long ago that he was like gave Liverpool its best genuine title challenge in like maybe 10 years.
Yeah, but you got to remember, like, so much has changed since then with Gerrard.
Yeah,
it's a huge culture for the club, and fans need to get adjusted to this new team, which really doesn't have that hero yet. I like Jordan Henderson, but he's no Gerrard yet.
And he's no Suarez either. Like, I think losing Suarez was like a big, like, this is what has turned it down. That was the beginning of the end for this club.
Yeah.
I think you can pinpoint the moment when obviously Suarez bit the Italian player at the World Cup. Like
Chiellini?
Yeah, so that kind of like, that single moment like sunk Liverpool for the next few years. Like that's... Because, like, when you bit him, you just knew he was out. Like, you knew he was going to Barca or whatever club he might end up going to at that point.
Yeah.
Like, you knew he wasn't going to stay at the club after that.
Yeah, I mean, and with Suarez in the league, can you imagine if he was still in the league? I mean, it'd be between him and Aguero for best striker in the Premier League.
Oh, it'd be Suarez.
You reckon it'd be Suarez?
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I didn't want to say it because I'm a Barca fan, but alright.
But, like, that's the thing. Like, I think Suarez is the quality of player. Obviously, we're not going to see gaudy numbers like that ever, like, out of him again, but that's just because of usage that he's having at Barcelona.
Yeah.
He's still a great contributor to the Barcelona side, but he's not going to have huge numbers just because he's not the centerpiece of that offense. When he was the centerpiece of the Liverpool offense in 2013, 2014, he was absolutely huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly right. You lose a player like that, it's just going to be crappy. I mean, you saw what happened with Liverpool and Torres, who, by the way, scored last night against Barcelona. Okay? We both like Torres, right?
Yeah, we were both Torres
we
fans.
both like Torres, so it's good
Torres!
to see that. You know what, did you want to just mention La Liga?
Yep, briefly, I just wanted to quickly mention the old little
The old
5-goal
hammering by Madrid.
Yeah, so Real Madrid got up 6-0 over Espanyol, and Ronaldo scored 5 goals. So what a way to open a bit of a slow start to
He scored a hat-trick in 20 minutes.
I'm going to miss these players when they're gone, man. Like, Ronaldo, honestly, is a generational talent. Like,
yeah. If Messi didn't exist, you could make a legitimate case for Ronaldo being greatest of all time.
I think they're both top 5 players all time. Look,
Yes.
I'm not old enough. I'm
Yes.
not going to be some Pele or Maradona expert because I haven't watched that much shit from Pele
Yeah.
or Maradona. But they're both when records fall like this, like he beat Real's all-time goal scoring record in less than half the amount of matches, like almost a third of the amount of matches. Like he broke in 203 matches, whereas Real took 550 matches or something like that for Real Madrid. Like,
yeah, and Raul was a great player, but he was more of a pocher, man.
Yeah,
he reminded
exactly.
me of Van Nistelrooy. He's the kind of guy that would just sit in the 5-yard box and then just kick it in from a deflection.
Look, I'm not going to come out and say we'll never see players like this again, but these guys are like, we're not really like appreciating how special we are to like get 2 of these level guys at the same time.
Yeah.
And you can't throw bullshit at me saying Pele's better, blah, blah, blah. Because Pele or Maradona or Gerd Muller and all these guys, they didn't come close to breaking the amount of records.
No.
And this is in a different time when goals were easier to come by, like years and years and years ago. Like, when you think of it in terms of like scale, that sort of stuff, it's kind of like Wilt Chamberlain. Like, points were easier to come by, like in the 60s, in the 70s. Like, defenses are like specially trained now to stop these sort of guys. Like, the average goal rate has progressively come down like as the decades go on, but these guys are like just making it look easy. Like,
Yeah, I think that's the biggest argument against like a Pele greatest of all time, Maradona greatest of all time.
And like you just talk in terms of like athleticism, it's not even
It's
close.
not even close.
You talk about guys like obviously Brazil, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, all that sort of stuff. I think continuity has to come into it too. Like, these guys weren't this good for that long. Like, as Messi and Ronaldo are, they've Like that. Like I'm not going to argue
point.
that the peaks of those two players outside of Messi and Ronaldo were amazing, but they weren't this good for this long. Like,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And that's why I have a big argument for Tim Duncan as well. Like greatness over an extended period of time.
We got to get into that though, because I do disagree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get into that.
We'll leave it
one
for another
day.
week, but I have an opinion that Tim Duncan is just the messiah. Like,
Yeah, but, I mean, back to football. I mean, you're right. I mean, right now, we were talking about this before the pod. We can't think of any player outside of Ronaldo and Messi that would have a chance at breaking these records. And really, the only knock on those two guys is that they don't perform well on a national level.
Exactly.
And don't give me Portugal as a shit team, because they don't.
Well, perform well on a national level is a subjective thing. They get the goals at the national level, but like it's just their teams are not as well rounded as like a Germany or a Spain or like that sort of stuff.
Here's the thing, right? If Higuain scores that goal at the Copa America, he's got a championship. If Higuain scores that 1-on-1 in the World Cup, that was like a half volley, which he just sends like wide to the left, I believe. Messi already has a World Cup.
Yeah, and you look at Messi and like it's you watch like the penalties and that sort of stuff. Like only guy to score the penalties for Argentina.
Yeah,
like I can't imagine how much hurt like it must have been to just watch your teammates just fucking stink at every other penalty, and you're just like, bro, what else have I got to do? Like,
no, and Ronaldo's in the same boat.
Yeah,
but they're not bad teams. But I think I think in the olden days you could carry a team more so than you can now.
Yeah.
And I think it's more to do with the physical aspect, because like if you were the fastest on the pitch 20 years ago, no one was catching you. Now you look at Walcott in the EPL. Yeah, he might be one of the fastest players in the league, but.
And the thing is,
he's not making that much of a
defenders
fucking
are
change.
so skilled now. Like, I'd imagine 30 years ago, right back would be the guy you chuck the worst player on the field on, just to like give him a place. But now
it might be the most important.
Centre backs are genuinely talented, physical players. Like you got look at guys like obviously Gerard Piqué, Hummels, Sergio Ramos. Like it's hard to get past those guys, and goalkeepers are better than ever. Like,
exactly.
Like. It's like how well they're trained, how often they train. Like goalkeepers are at a level like barely ever seen before. Like, and like just the congestion around like the box and everything like that. It is harder to score than ever. Like,
I mean, the bigger the bodies in the box and the more numbers in the box, it makes it harder, especially for the offense, because there's so like you look at like a corner kick, and I'm sure if you took the footage back to like the 1970s on a corner, they'd probably be around like a foot smaller than the average right now, no joke. Like I'm thinking like 5'7" would probably be the average. While in the EPL now, you look at these giants, man, and it's like.
And also like the coverage would be so much more meticulous than it would have been 30 years ago. Like at the corners, like everyone's being marked, everyone's being watched at all times. Like you can't openly just embarrass players like they would have done years and years ago. Like so if people try and tell me that Maradona and Pele are better than Messi and Ronaldo, I'll just tell them that's bullshit. Like,
I mean, it might not be like complete
bullshit.
But
it's not like far and away they're amazingly better than these players.
No.
These guys were generational talents in their self, but
no, look, okay, I'm okay with you if you think that Maradona and Pele are better than these two guys, but you got to respect. If you tell me that you would at least consider them in an argument, then I'm okay with that, because everyone's got their favorite players as well. You know, you mentioned Fat Ronaldo, who we refer to as Fat Ronaldo. He's the original Ronaldo, but he just got fat. Ronaldinho got fat as well. So I mean, but before we move on from football, I did want to mention Gerard Piqué has been getting a lot of bad press lately for what he's been saying about Madrid. I don't know if you've caught on to it.
I haven't. Let us know.
So pretty much Madrid has been just talking shit about Madrid. He's like, like, I wish Madrid the worst. I don't like Madrid. It's Barcelona for life. Like pro Catalunya. And he's getting a lot of crap, especially from Spanish fans, obviously. But you got to think about it from a political standpoint. Catalonia really like wants independence. So for someone to be advocating like anti-Madrid, he might be an enemy to Spain, but he's a hero in Barcelona. So give and take, and he always plays his heart out for Spain as well. So you can't exactly hate on him. That's all I wanted to say.
Like, I'm just wondering, like, what would a Catalonia national team look like too? Like,
it would be Barcelona plus like subs from Espanyol.
Yeah.
It's like that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it. I think was Fabregas born?
I think so.
Was he born in Barcelona?
I know he went to the academy there. I'm not sure if he was born there.
I mean, I guess it'd be kind of like an origin thing. Even if you're not born there, you could choose to play for
Boys,
them.
I'd get around that national
Like
matchup.
Balotelli played for Italy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, shit, we never know. And PK is still one of the top 3 best defenders in the world as well.
I would get
Hands
on that.
down.
I'd get on that. I love the Balotelli joke where he just says Barcelona have 2 fields. They have the Camp Nou for games and the Stadion Bernabeu for our training.
Oh, Balotelli just needs to shut his mouth and get to work, man. To be completely honest with you.
Look, he's. I don't know with Balotelli, man. Like, I honestly think he's a brilliant player. But,
oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
but it's kind of rough that like
Jesus.
it's rough as guts that he just doesn't show up more. Because
You know what? I think if he actually is taking football seriously, then he's an idiot. But if he just doesn't give a fuck, then why are we even hating on him?
yeah,
Like, you know, like we don't care. You know what I mean?
lad's set for life. He's fine.
Like, why take life too seriously, man? And you know, actually, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but you know, we've always had aspirations to become professionals in something as a kid. You know, like maybe you wanted to be a professional football player, cricket player, whatever, and for whatever reason that might not have panned out.
Disgruntled former athletes currently running the
No,
podcast.
but like, or maybe you realize that sport just wasn't for you. You know, I think I came around a point in my life where maybe I realized, oh, you know, like it wouldn't be worth the effort to try to go pro.
Yeah.
And I thank God because like I realized that in high school, and not like 3 years into a semi-professional career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, if he realizes he doesn't really want to take it too seriously, I can't hate on him, man. It's Balotelli, it's whatever.
Fair enough. I was never talented enough to get around that, so
Oh, bro. Yeah, this guy's a pretty good cross-country runner, though.
But like,
don't be modest, man.
Man, I think more than any other sport, running, like, to be really, really, really good at it, like,
you gotta be pretty fucking good at it.
You gotta be really good at it, because it's objective running. It's the time you put on the sheet. Like, that's literally it. Like, if you don't make those times, you don't do it. And the only way you get there isn't like some moment in a match where you get a catch goal. It's like you've got to run that fast for that long. That's it.
There's no clutch moments.
There's no clutch moments in running besides. But the thing is, if you get in a position like where you're 100 meters to go in a race, like you've spent that entire race getting to that point. It's wrecked.
Yeah, that's like your adrenaline kicks in the last 100. Like when you smoked me at the end of grade 9, I think it was.
You're still bitter.
I am still bitter about that.
All these emotions. Have we choose to be salty.
Have we told that story?
We have told that story.
Okay, we'll go back and listen to it. We're not going to repeat it.
Definitely, man. Well, I think we might move on from football. We're going to talk about a few trade rumors in the NBA. We're in the off season right now. Everyone's about to go into training camp. It's getting closer, man. I'm excited.
How long are we away? Are we like 40-something days away?
40-something days away. I'm keen.
Might be 4. Oh, wow. Might be like 42
Comes around
days
quick,
away.
doesn't it? Not as quick as the soccer season, because that stuff like is year round. But like, it's getting close. And look, I'm excited because like I've already bought my NBA League Pass. Unfortunately for me, because
it renewed automatically.
It renewed automatically on me because like my dad just came up to me the other day like, how come there's a $270 charge on the credit card from NBA League Pass? I'm like, what?
Hey man, at least you'll be.
I look at the email. It's like you've got to tell us by September 8th whether you don't want to renew or not. I'm like, I renewed it anyway. But damn, like, give me an email. Send me a heads up. Like, we about to rob your bank account, bruh. Like,
dude, I just find it funny how we can sneak in NBA talk when it's so far away. Like, I know we're saying like 40-something days, but that still isn't.
Mate, the basis of the pod. Like, let's be honest.
When we went to the Red Room at UQ. We were literally doing NBA playoff predictions.
Okay, like this is like start of last season. First game of the season, I bought an NBA League Pass, and we're sitting in the Red Room, our uni bar, with like my phone out, just watching the Knicks. I think it was the Knicks-Cavs game.
Knicks-Cavs?
Yeah, season opener. Yeah. And we're just like sitting there, like.
And I told you that my Knicks would win that game.
We're sitting there like a playoff. That was probably the highlight of the season, to be honest. Melo was good that game though. It was fun watching him just like be clutch. Like,
Yeah.
But like, bruh.
Yeah, I mean...
Speaking of Melo,
yes, let's talk about Melo.
Some trade rumors have been thrown up with old Carmelo Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or like, not, I'll be serious. Like, it's more like Zach Lowe, a Grantland punter. He said in his article that they're getting closer to considering trading Carmelo Anthony.
I mean, there's a lot of noise out of Chicago about it.
Yeah.
You know? And there's obviously in New York as well. Yeah. But when you've got teams clamoring for a player like that, I mean, it's going to make its way around to the news regardless.
And that's the thing. Like, the guy's on a max contract. It's not easy to like send that much money either way.
Hey, can we just rank him for a second, please?
In terms of
like the best players in the NBA, because in my eyes, this guy is like without argument, you couldn't displace him from the top 10.
He's top 10 player when he's healthy easily. I'd rank a few players above him. I'd rank LeBron, Kevin Durant,
all right,
Curry.
let's take our time.
LeBron for me is still the best player in the league. When he's
Okay.
on form, no one touches him.
Okay.
Kevin Durant when he's healthy. I know you have some opinions about Kevin Durant, but he's one of the best out-and-out scorers we've seen.
You know what? Right now, not seeing...
But we're talking about a season where both Durant and Melo weren't healthy, though.
Okay,
So
no, I'm going to give it to you. Durant right now...
one of them has an MVP, one doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, that's as simple as that.
Yeah.
One of them's been to the finals, one hasn't. Like,
yeah, okay, but we'll talk about Durant afterwards, but I'll give you that.
I'd
Durant
rank
is better.
Westbrook ahead of him. Ahead of Durant, now I would.
Yeah,
Curry, I'd rank ahead of him.
No.
I'd rank Harden ahead of him. Curry and Harden, I would rank ahead of Melo, given what we've seen right now.
I'll rank Harden above Melo, not Curry.
All right.
So what do we got? We're unanimous on LeBron, Durant, Westbrook, Harden.
And probably lastly, I'd probably rank...
I'll rank Davis over him.
I'd rank Davis and Paul, like, to finish off. Chris Paul.
I'm not ranking Chris Paul over Carmelo.
Not as a scorer, but like just as a guy who does his job better. Like, we're talking about two guys that have like not had great playoff
I feel
careers.
like we're missing someone.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
I feel like we're missing someone.
We mentioned the top 5 MVP candidates from last year.
Dwayne Wade is not better than Carmelo Anthony.
I agree with that. Right now, he's not.
No.
Because we're talking right now, not in terms
Holy
of his career.
shit, dude, who are we missing?
Oh
Yo,
my
I'm missing
God.
someone. We always miss someone, but regardless.
Like,
he's fringe top 5.
this whole podcast is regardless, mate. There's no regard whatsoever. You boys have got like whoever keeps throwing the chat about no regard. We've got to stop this. We've got to put an end to it. Like,
might have to make a name change. But okay, let's say fringe top 5 player in the NBA.
Fringe top 5, maybe. Yeah.
In terms of scoring, he is either 1A or 1B.
I agree with
I don't
that.
have an argument with either.
Just versatility, hard to stop. Like he's
monster on the boards.
Like he's big. Like he can rebound better than a lot of people. And look, he's got mad range. So
like what I was trying to get at with that is, what would the impact be on a team with Carmelo Anthony?
I think it's down to needs. Like you wouldn't want him on let's say you wouldn't want OKC trading for him because you wouldn't want the usage that all like Durant, Westbrook, and like you want a team that kind of needs a down and out scorer and to have that usage rate because I think there's only one basketball. That's the thing.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like you look at a team like OKC where it's Westbrook and Durant. That's kind of like shot them in the foot where Westbrook does use the like obviously Westbrook is a great player, maybe top 3 in the NBA, maybe, but. He takes the ball away from Durant. He takes the ball away from Ibaka because he uses it so much. And like you don't want him to change. He's great at what he does, but it's just the thing where like you need a team that needs an out-and-out scorer like that.
Can you imagine adding Melo into Westbrook and a Durant mix? That's not gonna work.
Look, it's going to increase the win tally, but I don't think it'll get him a title.
No,
I think the team that probably needs them the most and can probably offer something off on the trade table, and it would probably make them a title winning team because look, if Melo gets traded, it's not to a team like Philly, it's not to a team like Milwaukee, it's to a title contender. Because as much as you say trade, players don't have an impact on that, they do have an impact on it. A player of Melo's status does have impact on where he gets traded.
See, here's where I disagree with you though, because yes, they have some kind of edge, you know.
Yeah.
They're the best players in the league, and they drive so much money to the NBA and to their respective franchises. But at the end of the day, we've seen a lot of players get fucked over before. So why can't it happen again? That's all I'm saying.
The only thing I think with the player Melo status, he doesn't get traded unless he wants to get traded. Like they're not going to just do him like that. And then also you look at the money earning potential in New York, just with advertisements, just with
No, I agree.
money
with you
making
on that.
potential. I don't think he's going to pass up on that.
Oh, I agree with you on that.
I don't see him like as much as I'd love to see him in Chicago, and as much as Chicago need an out and out scorer like that. Trust me, I've tried it down 2K before. It ends well with Melo.
It works apparently.
But I just don't see a player of that status moving. If he does move somewhere, I'd probably have to say Chicago is probably the big contender for his talents.
Yeah.
Or
I can see him, dude. Honestly, like, why? The only problem with him going to the Lakers is that there's nothing that the Lakers could give the Knicks that we'd want.
exactly.
So yeah, I think you do have a point. I think Melo doesn't move, and can you imagine the uproar from like 99% of Knicks fans if we did trade Melo? Honestly, like I wouldn't be that pissed.
You're hitting the restart button completely. And
Yeah.
look, I think the Knicks without Melo, because look, whatever you get back for Melo, you're underselling him. Because you won't get like a top 10 player back for Melo. There's no chance. You're getting a bunch of young players, a bunch of picks.
No, you couldn't like go to the Cliffs and tell them, give me Griffin and something else for Melo. I don't think you could do that.
Yeah, because if a team wants to trade a player, other teams know that and they will exploit that.
Yeah, and even if we get a player, like what's the guarantee that he's going to be great in New York under a triangle system? And he's even got youth.
I think
how many good young players are there?
I think the best potential is probably just keeping Melo, hoping you hit the lottery with a guy.
Fucking best. Yeah.
Hoping you hit the lottery with a guy like Jerry Grant or Kristaps, and like hoping that maybe 3 years from now when Melo's still like his self.
No, look, it has to be one of the two things. We have to either go all out. Kristaps Porzingis, Jerry and Grant have to be great, and we need to draft well. In the next 4 years.
You need a free agent pickup, I reckon.
Yeah.
You need a game-changing one. There is rumours about currently Durant going around from the Knicks, but
I can't believe that bullshit. I'm a
believe...
Knicks fan. I don't believe that bullshit.
Yeah.
No way in hell. So, yes, Chicago would be a nice fit, but what would they give up? I mean, yeah.
Well, we talk about a guy that's probably on the trade block right now for Chicago, Taj Gibson. Mm-hmm. I love the guy. He plays with a massive amount of hustle. He's a big factor on defense. But look, you've got a crowded spot in the front court for Chicago right now. Even if it's not for Melo, that guy's probably... I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will get traded, but I think you got to prioritize Pau Gasol, the All-Star, right now.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I had a burning question throughout the week. Do you think Pau Gasol makes Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Okay. Go on. I'm sorry.
He should have a Finals MVP over one of those last 2 Kobe championships. Mm-hmm. He's a perennial All-Star when he's on the Lakers. He has 2 rings. The guy's big. I wouldn't call him anywhere in the frame of the power forwards that are just about to leave the league in terms of your Garnetts, your Dirk Nowitzkis, anything like that. But that guy's a Hall of Famer.
Right. I don't think he's first ballot though.
No.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt your point because
fine.
you were getting at Taj Gibson. Who else would you give up? Doggy McBuckets, man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He needs to be a piece. Look, in just terms of Doug McBuckets right now, he just kind of needs to show up next season. He didn't get a lot of minutes under Thibodeau, so I think under Hoiberg, I think that's he'll either sink or swim this season, I reckon. We know he has the scoring range. He didn't shoot well at all from 3, which is apparently his supposed strength. So we're looking for him to show up, and it's difficult.
With Taj Gibson though, I'm not comfortable with him at the 5. Okay, in the scenario that he does come to New York, how would you put Chris Tapps and Taj Gibson together?
Look, I would be comfortable with Taj at the 5. Taj has been 5. I wouldn't start him at 5, but he can definitely pull some minutes down.
Well,
there.
I mean, so if we're not getting a starting player back for Melo, is that even worth it? As
exactly. If you're wanting to send Butler, if you're wanting to get Melo to,
I'll take Butler. Shit.
Yeah, no, you're wanting to get a Butler back for him.
Yeah.
Look, but I don't think Chicago's gonna market Butler for any.
No, you know what?
Whatsoever. He's signed to the max right now. in terms of 5-year deal, and I think that's...
How old is Butler? I'm not too
Butler
sure about
is 25.
If I'm Chicago, Derrick Rose is healthy and isn't going to prison. No, well,
Shit, though.
Real talk though. Like, let's hope he's not. Well, let's hope the innocent party.
Like
right.
we don't have sympathy to either party on this sort of perspective. We hope that the justice gets served and the truly innocent party, gets their justice in that way. But bro, I hope he.
You know what though? I think, damn, I hadn't thought about it until right now. But it might. I mean, it might piss off a lot of Bulls fans if you traded Jimmy Butler, but Melo is that fucking good, man. Wow, I don't know. I think that might be a good trade. I don't know if the Bulls would do it. I don't know if the Knicks would do it. But we've seen Chicago make it really deep in the playoffs without a Jimmy Butler before. So you throw in Melo, maybe.
To be honest, I think the East is the Cavs and everyone else.
Yeah. Although Miami,
with or without Tristan Thompson, it's the Cavs and everyone else.
Yeah.
Because no big three in the NBA even comes close to what a healthy Cavs team is.
I mean, look, they ran away with the East and they weren't even healthy.
Look, and if they can keep the squad together throughout the playoffs this season, I honestly, if I had to tip a champion right now, it'd be the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
They just had a big season.
I don't think Golden State makes the finals this coming year. That's like a really early prediction.
But the West is a battlefield right now, man.
Yeah.
Like that's, I could, to be honest, I look at the Spurs and I don't know if they can do it. I don't see OKC doing it. I think this might be the year where the Clippers finally have depth from their bench, which is what they've been screaming for.
Yeah, Chris Paul is a bit of a choker though.
Yeah, look.
I mean, I'm just being honest, man. I'm just an honest basketball fan. Yeah. I like Chris Paul. Like we mentioned him before in the top 5, top 10 rankings. For me, he's the best point guard in the league. But even then,
look, if I'm going to go with
apart from Westbrook, sorry.
Like if I had to go with the West, I'm going to have to say what I did last season, where I said Clippers will make it to the finals, and I think that's true again this year. I think that Golden State team, I don't know if they can do it again. Like they got very, very lucky with health last year. That doesn't usually happen 2 seasons in a row.
And I know they've got the reigning MVP,
plus
but that is
Draymond shooting his mouth off quite a lot. So I think a few guys are going to come around and shut it this season. I don't know. Draymond, I think, is high on his own legend right now. So
it was just a good team win.
To be honest, I loved watching Golden State last year. They were incredibly entertaining basketball. Especially the series, the finals were really good to watch. And bro, still salty about the LeBron not getting Finals MVP though.
Yeah, that's some bullshit, man. And even the regular MVP, my problem with it, right?
Yeah.
I've got very, very voiced opinions.
Hardened for life. Well, we know he's not going to get the MVP again. He might not even make the All-Star team because now he's dating a Kardashian. The curse is real.
Is he actually?
He's dating Khloe Kardashian.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can't hate. We can't hate on him, bro. Hey, if you had the opportunity, would you date a Kardashian?
No. But the thing is, the Kardashian curse. That's what I'm worried about.
Okay.
I'm not worried about who he's dating.
Hey, Nathan, I would lose some fucking basketball games. I don't give a fuck.
Worth it.
Hey, let's be honest, man. Let's be honest, bro.
And that ends basketball for this week. Before we get into something we might regret saying on a publicised, recorded documentation. We'll continue this conversation post-pod.
Let's
move back to Australia. I want to talk about AFL. We're 3 games deep into the AFL Finals right now, talking from a Sunday morning. Big win West Coast had on a Friday night. So West Coast got up over Hawthorn. A bit of an unexpected result, but right now I'd probably call Perth the best home game advantage in all of the AFL. That place is a cauldron. You get 50,000 bogans in one stadium.
Is it because of the fans or is it because of the location? Which one would you give weight more to?
Oh, I think it's also it's just the set out of the place, the amount of fans, how loud that crowd gets. We saw it in the Freo match too. I think the crowd really got on top of people, especially Adam Goods.
Right. Have you ever been to Perth?
I have not been to Perth.
I haven't been to Perth either. I wouldn't want to go to Perth either. Yeah. So that's all you got to really know about.
So you're just calling it location, just players just don't want to be there?
I feel like the West Coast in Australia is just that neglected that if you're from the East Coast, you wouldn't want to go. even if you're from Adelaide, you wouldn't want to go to the West Coast. You never wake up in the morning and say, let's go for a spontaneous
move to
trip to
Perth.
fucking Perth.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
I think
that's
the
just how it
mining
is.
boom was Perth's. No, mining boom fucked Perth.
And I'm sure it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But it's if you're from the East Coast with so much action, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Canberra as a whole, but even Adelaide.
Questacon, boys, got to get around Questacon though.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you'd be happy going to the West Coast as a player, but that's just my opinion. I might be wrong.
Man. All right. And then we saw Fremantle get up over the Sydney Swans yesterday as well. Got around with the boys and watched that yesterday. It's just a good team win by Fremantle. They were classy and contained when Sydney tried to make a charge back. They just handled it like professionals. I think that side is very seasoned. It's one of the oldest lists in the AFL. There's some real champion players on there too. When you have McFarlane, Pavlich, and Sandilands, probably respectively the best defender, centre forward, and ruckman. You can make an argument of the last 10 years, each of them. Like McFarlane's a great key defender. Pavlich with Rewald is probably the best centre half forward since Jonathan Brown. Mm-hmm. And then you also have a look at a guy like Sandilands, a 7-footer, one of the first in the AFL, biggest guy, and he's really just had a great career at ruckman. So this is a list with a few guys that deserve to get a championship. Yeah. The club's never gotten one before, so if I had to make a call with like the prelims going to go back to Perth, so I'd probably call it a Western Derby for the final, because you're going to see West Coast and Fremantle both get their prelims at Subiaco, so they're probably both going to get up in that, I'd probably say. And if we saw a Western Derby grand final, it'd be something to watch, even for non-AFL fans.
Is that AFL final played at a neutral stadium?
It's played at the MCG.
Oh, okay. All right.
About 100,000 people usually get around.
So that'd be cool to watch, to see how many fans turn out for a West Coast Derby, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're still going to sell out because it's the grand final.
Obviously. But in terms of loyal fans.
Yeah. Like, how many will make the trip over from Perth? I'm going to guess a lot.
Yeah. That's a cheap flight.
And to be honest, we haven't really had a finals matchup before in Derby. So, look, this is going to be something to get around and watch. Like, this is going to be an event if this happens.
No, I mean, the hype around the AFL Finals has got me intrigued. I know, like, you did the podcast with Adam, and if you haven't watched that, go give that a watch. I'm not that much of an AFL supporter. I've never liked AFL too much, but, like, just listening to, like, people talk about it and, like, just watching the games on TV, it is entertaining. So I would get around the AFL Finals.
Nice, man. And lastly, I just want to talk about Adelaide getting up over the upstart Bulldogs. I think the Bulldogs were a bit young to get up in a final. You have some championship players on Adelaide, guys like Patrick Dangerfield and Eddie Betts, and there's a lot of talent in that Adelaide side, probably more so than the Bulldogs. Not surprised they get up, but since they play Hawthorn in Melbourne next week, you'd probably you wouldn't be able to say that Hawthorn would fall to the Crows at all. So I'd probably say Adelaide's got a big test coming up next week.
Okay.
Speaking of big tests, a real test of Serena Williams to bring Drake over to her game the other day. Tempted fate, and fate responded.
Okay, have we talked about Drake and Serena before on this podcast?
Haven't. So they're quite friendly, old Serena Williams.
Do you like that relationship? Do you ship that shit?
I ship that. I captain that ship.
I'm like vice captain on that shit.
Vice captain on that shit.
I'm the one like paddling, bro. Like, I
shit.
like it, man.
Rolling that boat.
I like Drake as a person.
Yeah.
And I think Serena's a good person as well. So it's good to see them together.
Yeah, it's good to see them together.
And it's good to see Drake supporting her at events like this.
Unless you're well informed of the Drake curse.
And it is well and truly alive.
He does get around LeBron. He does get around Paul Pierce a lot, and that kind of Duke. He gets around as well. He got around the University of Kentucky this year, and
UK as well. Yeah.
So that kind of fucked them.
That's funny.
So. Look, the Drake curse is real. We know this now. A lot of people are rightfully blaming Drake for Serena's loss.
Rightfully blaming?
Hey, man.
Hey, this is a big loss, though, man.
I was losing 2-6 with my woes. You know how that should go.
Look, this was always... No one saw this coming. If you chucked a bet on this, you're probably
Yeah,
millionaire.
unseeded Roberta Vinci. Look, props to her in all seriousness. Getting up over Serena Williams, that's a big win, especially when Serena had already beaten a great player like Venus in this tournament.
And can we just talk about that? Because that was one of the best matches I've seen in a while. And I don't really get to watch too much tennis just because on Australian free-to-air TV, it's not like a major thing, which it should be. But I just don't get the chance to watch tennis too much. I watched half of that Williams tennis match, and my goodness, Venus came to play, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen Venus play so well in
there was
like
a point
6
like
years.
10 years ago where 10 years ago where they were inseparable.
Yeah,
in terms of their talent.
Yeah, but it was a real scare for Serena that game, and then it's even more of a surprise that she'd lose after a game like that because you'd be switched on like, holy shit, I nearly lost. And then you just go and lose against Vinci. That's a huge loss.
Man. Oh yeah, it's massive.
It's a huge loss. But yeah, good for Vinci. I mean, I'm sure Serena Williams will bounce back.
Oh, 100%.
So there's no real worries there.
All right, we just want to briefly talk about the Mayweather fight too. There's that going on today. What are your thoughts beforehand?
Mayweather versus Berto. It's probably happening.
Supposedly his last fight.
Yeah. He tweeted out that it's his last fight. We're not sure how much we believe that, right, Nathan?
Yeah, I can see him coming out of retirement.
Because if he goes 49-0, like, come on, mate.
Get to the 50, boy.
50, like.
We're just gonna quickly say what would a win mean.
Nothing.
Just
another 30 million in the bank for Mayweather.
It's a big fight in terms of Payweather.
Payweather.
Boys.
Yo, dude. Is that not the best nickname?
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
I think in my hungover state I just created the new nickname at the last fight of his career.
Floyd Payweather?
How did when I was completely fine I said Pacquiao was from China, but now that I'm in this state I'm like Payweather and it's
shout out to Bleacher Report. You couldn't come up with a better nickname than that. Yo, props to Nathan, man.
Payweather, that is the thumbnail, that is
Floyd Payweather. Yo, that's fucking good, man. I like that.
Boys, that's the title of the video today.
That's as good as Dwayne Wade, bro.
Yeah,
that's good, man. I like that.
Oh man. But what would a loss mean for old Payweather?
A loss would mean a lot of internet hate. That's what it would mean. Twitter would blow up.
In terms you wouldn't want to lose that undefeated record, but I don't think he fights in a way that will mean he'll lose this match.
No, he'll play.
We know this.
He'll fight defensive, and he won't get too many shots on him. But just before we move on from boxing, we have heard that Mayweather allegedly took an illegal IV to help with hydration in the Pacquiao fight. What do you think about that, Nathan?
Look, I obviously it smells fishy, especially if it's true. Obviously, that's outright cheating. Mm-hmm. Look, it won't matter to Mayweather. He's he's made his money. He's completely fine in a good place. He knows he won that match. And look, it does make it suspicious that Pacquiao was denied that shoulder injection as well, and then Mayweather goes out and does that. Look, but to be honest, the pressure around that fight was amazingly immense. So you'd probably have to say any boxer in that situation, they would do some weird shit because the eyes of the world,
some weird shit, some under the table.
To be honest, he's got to hedge his bets. He's got to make sure he won that fight. That was the biggest fight hype ever. For a shit fight, by the way.
And all of Floyd's friends, you better believe that Floyd's really rich friends are betting on him to win that fight.
Oh yeah,
he ain't letting people down, man.
Just because it's a out in the public match, don't think the shady boxing. Boxing obviously has a dark history when it comes to gambling. So it's interesting. If you want to watch a movie about boxing and gambling, that sort of stuff, it's not really about that, but there's a facet of it that's that. Go watch Snatch. It's a Guy Ritchie film from 2000. It's a British gangster film.
Oh yeah.
Probably one of my favorite movies. Just the way Guy Ritchie edits. Jason Statham in it as well. So yeah, get around it, boys.
Get around it, lads.
Get around it. If you haven't seen the end of the AFL podcast, there is a little sneaky Easter egg in there.
I love that.
End of the video was unedited by me, unfortunately, but it created a live blooper reel for us. Get around it, boys. A bit of stretching.
The end of that finals one, man. But let's move on.
Let's go on. Question of the week. Let's talk about the Matildas pay situation. Obviously, it's a bit iffy this week when we talk about the Matildas going on strike from their US tour because they they don't feel they're getting paid enough to play at such a high level. Which is true, they're not getting paid enough to live off it. But I wanted to hear your opinions, Marcelo. Like, how would the Matildas' pay situation be improved, and should it be improved? Which is a brutal question to ask. Like, but there are factors to it where you have to ask, like, where's the money going to come from if they're not bringing it in themselves? Like,
okay, look. First of all, they should be paid full time and not have to work 2 jobs.
that is true.
Because we heard stories about Matildas coming back from the World Cup and going back to their regular jobs just because they just didn't have enough money to live on.
The day after, yeah.
Yeah. So that shouldn't be happening at all. In terms of, are we saying equal pay? Is that what we're saying?
I think you were saying earlier that the Matildas, like the money should come out of the Socceroos pay fund.
Some people were saying that the Socceroos should sacrifice some of their pay, a percentage of their pay, to give money from the Australian Football Association to the Matildas. I know
exactly no Australian footballers that would do that, by the way.
No. Oh, no. Hell no.
Hell no.
No, you ask Cahill to do that, he might, like, put up a Twitter or something, of course, but then, like, in real life, he's not
giving up any income. Like, no. if he's not going to come to the A-League, he's not doing shit, like...
No, okay. You asked a very hard question. Because we do see women, and it's not just the Matildas, it's in a lot of sports, play for the national teams and not get paid the according number. Okay, yes, full time. I said full time. They should be paid.
They should be paid, but the revenue needs to come from somewhere. And look, I don't put that down on the Matildas in any level that they play. They're elite footballers. They do a lot better than the Socceroos team in terms of international tournaments. But like the marketing departments and that sort of stuff, they just have to do more for the Matildas. Like,
but is that their fault, or is that the Australian Football Association's
It's
fault?
not their fault. That's the thing. It's the Australian Football Association's fault for not marketing women's football much more heavily than it is.
Right.
Like, these guys are doing great things. Say, hey, come watch this. This is great football. This is a high level of competition.
No, and Australia got behind the World Cup.
Yeah.
And they really did, man.
But you feel like it was more of an internet movement than like mainstream broadcasting.
I disagree with you because I did see it on 7, 9, 10. I mean, all these... A lot of networks did pick up the Matilda's success, especially after the Brazil game. Like, that was absolutely amazing. We're always going to be proud of that performance. So, yes, they should be paid, obviously, more than minimum wage full-time. They should get superannuation, holiday leave, everything.
When a team that got to the quarterfinals of the World Cup is getting paid less than a Macca's worker, there's something wrong. Look, no one cares about the 18-year-old scrub at Woodridge Macca's compared to like an international level.
Oh, yo, you just throw some shade, man.
But to be honest, like these guys are doing some great things. They should be paid at a level that reflects that, and the world is watching. So why aren't they getting the rewards from this?
Look, another thing that people forget, they might not be getting paid enough now, but how many hours did they not go to work since like they were like 18 or 16, whenever the hell it is you can work, just to prepare for the World Cup? Dude, I don't go to training sometimes because I have work.
Yeah.
I don't go to I didn't go to games because I had work. I'm sure you've been the same.
Yeah, exactly.
So all that is opportunity cost. Like, you could have been making a hell of a lot of money if you didn't train, but you made that commitment and you fucking made it. So now it's time for people to recognize your effort.
And it kills your career opportunities as well, because like you don't have time to go to uni.
No.
You don't have time to work a legit like 5-day 9 to 5 like office job or anything like that. No. You've got to work for those.
And you know, some of them do though, and you see them struggling still.
Yeah.
So it is give and take. I do agree with you though. I don't think the men's national team should suffer for this in any way, shape, or form. They also paid their dues. Yeah. And if anything, they're in harder competition.
And not all these guys are getting paid. Like, you got to remember, not all these guys are on like Cahill like wages either.
No.
Like, a lot of these guys are A-leaguers. Like,
no, but I think the point is that they can make a living off it.
Yeah.
While Matildas,
they can make a comfortable living off their money, whereas the Matildas barely are getting paid minimum wage. So that is definitely something that needs to be improved in the future. And I'm keen to watch how this situation unfolds. And how the FFA reacts.
Not just that, in W League as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But like W League, I know would probably be a step down again from Matildas, but Yeah, I think that'll come with progress and change. It's a time thing. You can't exactly
Look,
push for it overnight.
Look, you can't argue against the progress of the Women's World Cup either, or women's football in general.
Yeah.
Like, just as the years have gone on, women's sport is being taken more and more seriously, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully that just progresses to a point where a lot of them can live off it. Like, obviously tennis is the gold standard for equality in sport. So we're hoping it gets to that point in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So we'll move on to our end ones now. Mine's going to be short and sweet, as it always is. Just a quick plug for something. Stephen Colbert's had his first week on the late night, taking over obviously from David Letterman. I've watched a few of the episodes. Look, he has a very genuine interview with Joe Biden, the Vice President of the United States. It's just good content. I love watching him work. He doesn't have to carry that persona he had on the Colbert Report anymore. So just genuine him. He's a great listener. He's one of the most genuine and talented comedians working at the moment. And I'm really going to get around whatever he does. So watch it, guys. Look, in my opinion, he's the most talented guy on TV. That does this sort of stuff.
Like talk show kind of stuff.
Like, he's the most talented talk show host in the world. So what he did on Colbert Report was revolutionary. With Jon Stewart as well. So what he does on late night, I'm excited for, and I reckon he's going to change the game with a lot of genuinely thought-provoking interviews. Look, you're not going to see the viral sensations. You're not going to see sing and dance like you do with Fallon. I love Jimmy Fallon, but at times it can feel a bit superficial, the content that he produces. Whereas you're not going to see any of that from Colbert in the terms of, like, he's going to produce a lot of genuinely thought-provoking interviews. So if you're talking about the smart man's talk show, you're talking about the Colbert on late night.
All right, might have to get around it then.
Yeah, get around it, boys.
My and one for this week is NFL, and more specifically NFL fantasy.
So we had a fantasy draft last week.
We did. I think Nathan got the fucking God squad, to be completely honest.
Okay. Didn't know anything about NFL about an hour before the draft. Did some clutch research and
Okay, six-man fantasy league, so we're all gonna get great players.
Obviously.
But I don't know how this guy got Adrian Peterson, Gronkowski, DeMarco Murray, CJ Anderson. I don't know who your receivers are, but I'm sure there's one elite one in there at least.
Yeah, definitely.
How that...
The Seahawks defense, by the way.
Alshon Jeffrey as well. Yeah. What the fuck?
And
man?
I got the Seahawks defense. Boys.
Yeah, I'm calling out myself because I fucked up.
And also the bench too. Like, I got Drew Brees coming off the bench. Like, boys.
Look, long story short,
Russell Wilson at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's only been one game played so far, New England Patriots against Pittsburgh Steelers.
Gronk murdered it that game. He absolutely killed it.
I'm versing Nathan week 1 and I'm already down 28 points. I think you got 90 something yards.
No, I actually think you're up. You had 2 Pittsburgh guys, I think. So
No.
Okay.
No, because Le'Veon Bell is suspended.
Oh no, that was Chaps, don't worry.
Yeah, Chaps had Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah. So props to you, man. I think you're gonna get the win this week.
All right.
I'm
Well,
a bit worried.
I'm already paying off my fantasy AFL Grand Final debt to Chaps. I got to go buy him lunch. So hopefully I can come out this season
balance out.
Yeah, because we do have a little bit of a prize running hopefully for the end of the season. So I'm gonna have to pick a team so I can get myself a helmet, mate.
Yeah, so I think
I start sizing helmets already in week 1. I'm like, oh boys.
The winner of our fantasy league is gonna get bought a replica NFL helmet, and it's not gonna be one of those mini ones that you see on the fucking dashboard of cars. It's gonna be a legitimate one you can put on your head and hit some people.
If one of us wins it, I think it needs to go on the pod. I reckon it needs to be a feature.
Yo, you know what we should do?
What?
So number 1 gets the helmet.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can figure out a way to get pads for the winner and have them tackle whoever comes last. Helmet and all. Oh shit, right, Nathan?
We're just full of good ideas on this podcast.
Yeah. Hey man, I think that's a good idea.
Alright, we might keep the good ideas flowing offline. But as for this podcast, it's been a good podcast today. This is Floyd Payweather signing off.
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah,
I'm Marcelo.
I'm Nathan. It's been another good podcast.